What if, one day, empathy simply disappeared? No ability to feel what others feel. No emotional resonance with pain, joy, or fear. No instinctive reaction to suffering. You would still see what happened. You would still understand it intellectually. But it would not move you. No shared pain. No shared joy. No internal pull toward another human experience. What would happen to human behavior if emotional connection went silent? And more importantly, what would happen to society? Empathy is not kindness. It is not morality. It is not even compassion. Empathy is a cognitive emotional bridge. It allows one mind to partially simulate another. From early development, humans learn to read expressions, tone, posture. This ability creates social awareness long before rules exist. Empathy discourages harm not through fear, but through shared emotional consequence. Across cultures, empathy has played a similar role. It reduces friction between individuals by making harm emotionally costly. Not legally, not logically, emotionally. Without empathy, this bridge collapses. The brain still understands events, but it no longer feels them as shared experiences. Now imagine that state becoming universal. At first, losing empathy might feel efficient. Emotional overload would disappear. Other people's pain would no longer intrude. Decisions would feel cleaner, less conflicted. There would be no emotional fatigue from witnessing suffering. No internal discomfort when others fail or struggle. This could feel like clarity, but something fundamental would change. Without empathy, other people become abstract. Their emotions become data, not experiences. Helping someone would still be possible, but it would be calculated, not felt. Cruelty would not feel cruel. Neglect would not feel wrong. Indifference would feel neutral. The individual mind becomes functional, but emotionally isolated. Not hostile, just disconnected. Empathy shapes moral identity. It draws invisible lines. It tells us what feels unacceptable even without rules. Without empathy, morality becomes external. A person may behave ethically, but only when incentives align. The self becomes adaptive rather than principled, responsive rather than reflective. Good and bad lose emotional weight. They become situational labels. This does not create immediate chaos. It creates emotional flatness. Responsibility becomes intellectual, not felt. And that difference matters more than it seems. Relationships depend on emotional mirroring. Empathy allows people to feel understood, without explanation. Without it, communication becomes transactional. Apologies lose depth. Comfort loses meaning. Shared joy feels hollow. People may stay together, but connection weakens. Trust no longer comes from emotional assurance, only from predictability. Relationships continue, but they resemble systems, not bonds. Connection exists. Attachment fades. When empathy disappears, societies compensate structurally. Rules increase. Monitoring expands. Procedures replace understanding. Social systems must enforce what empathy once softened. Without emotional brakes, institutions grow heavier. Justice becomes mechanical. Care becomes policy-based. This does not lead to collapse. It leads to cold stability. A society without empathy does not explode. It hardens. Efficiency rises. Human warmth declines. Empathy is exhausting. It exposes us to pain that is not our own. But that exposure is what binds individuals into groups. Without empathy, life becomes simpler, but society becomes lonelier. Without empathy, individuals function better, but humanity functions worse. Empathy may feel like a vulnerability, yet it may be the silent force that keeps human systems humane. So the question remains, what if empathy isn't an emotional luxury, but the cost of living among other minds? This was a social experiment by AC Society.